Welcome to another episode of Soul Wisdom. I'm your hostess, Monica, and today I have the company of Alison Collins. She's a forensic healer, a breath work practitioner, and also the creator and facilitator of Sacred Women Weekend Retreats. Alison, thank you for being here with me.
Thank you so much for asking and inviting me.
What do you do to share your wisdom with other women and other people out there?
Sure. It's a long story, I guess, cut short. I've been doing my work since 1998. I went on my own healing journey from there for quite a few years. That's where I was introduced to inner child work and breathwork therapy. So for me, that made a huge impact in my life. So after I worked through my own stuff that we all have, I made a decision that was kind of the work that I wanted to take out into the world, and it has since grown and developed as we all do. But breathwork for me has been probably one of the most transformative experiences I've ever experienced.
Working with such a powerful tool.
Exactly.
I believe that we can control anything with the breath. Body temperature, the heart rate, the sweat in our palms, the tension, the anxiety.
Well, it is one of those tools, I think, that I've been able to go very deeply into myself, which is kind of my value system is that I'm not going to lead you anywhere I haven't been myself. So I'll take myself in. I've gone most amazing experiences of altered states, connection to the divine, amazing energy work. But primarily for me, breath work, amongst other things, is a connection back to our life force energy. And what happens for most of us who've experienced trauma, shock, all of those things that happen for all of us during our life. I always use the analogy of, it's a little bit like a beach ball beneath the surface. So anybody who's ever sat in the water with a beach ball and you grab it and you hold it beneath the surface, you know how much energy that costs. So within all of us, we have these little pockets of energy that haven't been processed. So they stay beneath the surface, unconsciously at times, but we might see them act out in our relationship issues, health issues, all of that type of thing. So breath work is just an amazing tool to gain access to the unprocessed energy, the unprocessed trauma that sits beneath the surface, allows it to pop up, just like when we let go of that beach ball beneath the surface and the energy that comes with that. So when we can expel some of this contained energy that hasn't worked its way through us, we have so much more available life force energy. So it's there for us to do, what we want with that, which is normally healing and growth, expansion, all that sort of thing. So it's been an extraordinary tool for me to work on myself with and then facilitate that in others. It's been just amazing. And we all know, we can sit there, at any given moment, I normally say this to people, just take a second, let your eyes just close for a moment and just feel where the breath is sitting in your body. And obviously right now this is quite an artificial experience. Yes. So my breath feels like it's quite high in my chest. So when I become aware, when I'm consciously become aware and connected to my breath, I can feel into that breath. Then really what we want, this is high anxiety breathing. When we're up here, this is the gasp that happens when we're in shock. So even when we're driving a car, somebody's pulled out in front of us, the universal sound that comes out of everybody is, well, where does it go? It's staying here and beneath this system of ours, So we really want to find an outlet that's healthy. Yes. Let it move through in order for, the healing process to take place. Off it goes. Nothing is permanent. Even our emotions, they move through us. They come through like the seasons. Off they go. But if we dam something up, what's going to happen? Well, there's no new fresh life force coming through. We really want to find a place to let this breath move through. And as I say, my experience over the years, it's been anything from, I know for me personally when I first started, and all of us will work in different ways, but we are multifaceted individuals, and we have a lot of aspects to ourselves that are there, our archetype energy, all that type of stuff, and some of it is designed to keep us safe. So I know for me, I had a powerful protector that basically stopped anyone coming anywhere around me energetically, but that was also stopping life and joy and all those lovely other things flowing through too. So it took me quite a while of dedicated commitment really to myself to be able to kind of say, hey, you can just have a little rest over here now and let me just connect to this aspect. So once I could connect to myself and breath, could come through me, I guess, I was, well on the way to making available space within myself for healing and growth and expansion and flow and the most amazing, anywhere. I simply can't tell you how incredible some of the, divine connections to source and past life stuff, being really interested in that aspect a long time ago when I first started. It was kind of like just sitting back with the popcorn and going, what are we going to see today? This is really amazing.
This is just great because everyone can breathe. So that means that everyone can have that connection with this being or with the universe or with your own self through breathing.
That's it, exactly. And I was
so
thinking
powerful, isn't it?
That's right. I was thinking that when I was coming down today, that it's a little bit like reinventing the wheel. Why do we do that when the wisdom of the ages says it's so simple?
It is.
Just come back to your breath. Come back. That's it. It's like really consciously, and that's a part of breath work that the practitioners are always practicing and aware is conscious connected breaths. So all that means any time of the day is to simply just stop for a sec, check in, how am I feeling, what's happening in my body, where's my breath, oh, okay. Connect to the breath, find it in your body, and then bring it down deep into your belly. It's like soft belly holds no tension. So when we breathe into our belly and just connect, and if we get into a pattern of breathing, at least say little cycles of 4 conscious connected breaths daily, X amount of times a day, the debris that is just cleared out of the way and the connection back to self and source is incredible.
Wow, in my own research, I have come across to how detrimental it is for your well-being and for your physical health to breathe through your mouth, number one, because you get overdoses of CO2. It can cause asthma, it can cause allergies, it can cause also you to put weight on, and you don't know why you're putting weight on, and you are eating healthy, but you're still putting weight on. And also shallow breathing. People that breathe from here to here without never going into the deepest part of your lungs.
And it's the last little part of your breath that holds the most amount of toxins in our lungs. So if we're shallow breathing, we're using the top part of our lung.
We're not getting rid of
So
all
we
that.
really, even just connecting to these few breaths a day is really emptying out, whatever's sitting in this stale old air that's just sitting in the bottom of our lungs.
Alison, I hear you have created these retreats for women to enhance their sacred wisdom.
Yeah.
Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have. It's one of my absolute passions. So I ran my first retreat in 2002. I just had such a desire that, when you look back and think, I was naive, there was a whole lot involved, but it was fabulous. But it set me on this whole gorgeous experience. I've held space now for 16 years or longer. Before that I'd had other things going on, but since 2002. So I've had probably hundreds of women come and go through the experiences over the years, just holding space for them and really recognising how valuable and important it is for women to step away from their life. And every time the resistance rises, it's really fascinating to watch. It's universal, happens everywhere, every time. Women are convinced that life won't go on, or, who will manage, how will everybody get their act together when they're not there.
I am one of them.
Yeah, I know. It's the truth for all of us, and that's the crazy making part, is that we get so caught up in this kind of, it's almost victim-martyr consciousness, that we're really entrenched in, and we don't even know that we are. When we create intentional space, that's sacred in the sense of it's been designed to hold you for a whole weekend so that you can fall into yourself, that you can come back to your heart, that you can really just experience, being in an environment where there's nothing actually required of you. So you don't have to cook, you don't have to clean, you don't have to do anything other than sit inside this space, connect to other women. And what I really love about these spaces and, the monthly women's gatherings and things that I've run over the years is that women come out of isolation. So they come into a space like this.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's in the faces of the women around the circle that they meet themselves, in the sense of, we think we're the only ones who go through certain things, and then when you hear women sharing around a circle, it happens every time. It's like this big breath is taken and then released. It's like, I'm not the only one. There are others here who feel the same way too. So when we come together in experiences like this, community is formed, like-mindedness, you find others that are similar to you. But there's just really a beautiful invitation over the weekend is extended. It just unfolds organically now. Like years ago I used to be very, it has to happen like this, this and this. And over the time it's like, it has a subtle outline around it, and then I let it go, because the weekends will go wherever they need to go for whatever is showing up for the group. So the group energy will come, somebody could have a particular issue, perhaps. Guaranteed there'll be a collective consciousness around
because that's why
same.
they have come all together in the first place.
Yeah.
It is amazing that you are reconnecting with what our ancestors did.
Yeah.
We are so isolated now, especially moms. Oh yeah, you're a stay-at-home mom, or you're there with your kids, cleaning for them and washing inside your house. Why before we were doing it all together?
That's right.
It's like, a bunch of kids, a bunch of moms. The parents were all, or the fathers were all hunting, and we were all holding together. It didn't matter, this is your kid, so you change the nappy or whatever, or you feed them. We all feed all the kids.
The village.
We all put all the kids to sleep. So reconnecting with that essence that we are animals of, I don't know even how to put it, but we are a group.
It's primal, it's intrinsic, it's within all of us, I think. And I couldn't really tell you the defining moment for me, but I know when I chose my name, Sacred Creations, as my business name, it was purely personal. It just resonated in my heart. It was like, there's so much that is sacred and ancient and forgotten, and I'm pretty committed to bringing that through my work. And I work intuitively, I'm psychic, I do all that sort of stuff that comes through my work. So I love those opportunities. For a woman to sit in a circle and say, my name is Alison, I'm the daughter of Val, the granddaughter of Alice, and then to sit and in the energy of the ancestors,
Wow.
all the women down our line, and what have they gifted us with, and what burden are we carrying on their behalf? And sometimes on these weekends, all the times basically, before women are attending, I'll ask them that question, what is the burden that you feel like you're carrying in life right now? So bring that to this weekend, and let's work through that. Let's see if we can let it go and create space, sacred space, inside, internally and externally, for you to have a different experience of life and love and relationships. I think my work, if I had to sort of wrap my work up, it's a passion that I have to lead women back to their hearts, to really recognise their magnificence, and really, draw on, it's a really old paradigm, a really old story that I can do the tough love thing and kind of go, come on girls, like how long do we want to tell this story of not enough? How long are we willing to keep continuing to run the old tapes, the old stories that say that we're less than, we shoulds and coulds and all of those things? It's like, come on, step up. There's nothing holding us back any longer except ourselves. Look at the life we're living. Look at where we're living. The only one who can make a change is us. So if you don't, and I know that whole catchphrase about, it's a throwaway line about, if you don't seriously fall in love with yourself and you get over the fact that people think you're selfish, I think yourself full, that it's time, move past that and really, we are the role models, we are the women that are demonstrating and teaching our young women coming up. So if we're saying to our women that, love yourself, la 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 la, but they're hearing mum, grandmum, auntie, whatever saying, I hate my bum or I hate my fat, la 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 la.
Yes.
We're not authentic, we're not in integrity, we're not walking our talk. It's sort of saying, do what I say, not what I do. So really what I want to do on these weekends is I bring that into your awareness through beautiful experiences, soft, gentle, very profound at times, that I think people get a little blown away at the simplicity, back to keeping it simple. Get them out of their heads, get them into their heart, get them into their body, connect with the soul, and it's beautiful.
Alison, if I ask you what is the best soul wisdom that you could share with our audience, what will it be?
Oh, for me, I think it will always come down to self-love. It has to. Everything flows from that. If you think about going through life when you're not quite in love with yourself, and it's a barrage of criticism constantly going on in your head all day.
So many people, it's like that.
Totally, living up to expectations of others, the old stuff running from childhood programming, all of that sort of thing. But if we can't take necessary steps to deal with some of that, which I refer to as stinking thinking, that just robs our energy, And my wisdom, I guess, my message is, do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes to connect back to this part that is, absolute beauty. It's just who we are. We were born beautiful. Doesn't matter what we look like, but we're all born beautiful. We have a birthright to be here and to enjoy our lives and, live really fulfilling, joyful lives. So why wouldn't we?
Yes. Thank you for empowering so many women out there with your message. And do you think God is a finite being, or do you think God is infinite? Do you believe that the universe has edges?
Oh, I see it as just a flowing energy that is all that is. I don't categorize it and I don't label it. I just, for whatever reason, I think since I was a tiny one, I just knew that there was, this universal love was everywhere, and that there was something to connect with, something that was bigger than me, something that shows up, the mystery, and even the extraordinary in the ordinary. There are just amazing, I have to speak from my experience of the divine source, universal energy, whatever you want to call it. I really don't care what other people label it as, or what their truth is. However, what I do believe, no matter what you believe in, I think there's gold in every single one of those beliefs. I think it's man-made, fear-based crap, basically, that has gotten in the way of the purity inside every belief system that is love.
I am so intrigued by the forensic healing work. Could you explain us a little bit what forensic healing is about?
Sure. I think it was probably about 5 years ago, I felt that need that I wanted to expand my little toolkit with something different, something new. And it just kept cycling around me a little bit. And I thought, this sounds really intriguing, bearing in mind I'm a Scorpio woman, so I have that great, detective quality of research, and life and death really fascinates me, all of that kind of thing. And what I found with forensic healing is, as the name suggests, forensic is about looking for clues. And the healing is all the healing corrections that take place after gaining the insight into what's happening for the person. But the way that it works is a little bit like people who are familiar with kinesiology. They understand that it's muscle testing. Forensic healing is based on energy shifts or energy testing, either through your body or through mine. I get a yes-no answer, or your body will tell me a yes-no. But what happens is, first we begin to look for the archetype energy that's present for you. And how that sets you up in life, and what's primarily running, whether it's the victim energy, consciousness, or martyr, whatever it is. There's 22 different ones to choose from, really. Then after that, I look for 2 negative life patterns that are showing up, and this can be currently happening right now, or it could be long-term over and over, the same sort of patterning. After that, we look for a negative emotion that's present. And then there's the negative belief system, and this is the foundation. Negative belief system is what we pin we make meaning of. We pin everything else to this belief system. So if we've got a negative belief around, for example, life, love, all of those things, well, then we have to attract and pile up all the evidence to prove that that's my negative belief. So it shows up in our body system. So what happens after that is I count backwards from the age that you are now, and your energy will stop at a particular age. So as I'm counting back, it'll stop. Say, for example, it stopped at 12 years old or 35 or whatever it was. Well, then we would have a conversation about, well, tell me what were the stresses that were happening in your life then? What were the traumas? What happened? Obviously, we want lots of good things to happen to us, but in this instance, I'm not really interested in that. I want to work with what's sitting beneath the surface. So it's really amazing that, the person can go back almost immediately to that time in their life with a little bit of thought, because resistance will rise in many different ways. So a resistance can come as a block or a can't quite remember or yawning or whatever, but we move through the resistance and just keep, staying focused on where you were living at that age, who you're with, blah, blah, blah. And then the conversation starts, and that person normally goes back to a memory or an incident or something that has hurt, traumatized or whatever, but has been held within their body system.
Yes.
So then the interesting thing after that is then I work with the 4 bodies. So it's the emotional, mental, spiritual, physical. So your body will tell me which ones to go down, which pathway to go down. And I have forensic healing is an extraordinarily succinct practice, I guess, because we're out of the way. We have a protocol to follow. We have to go by the book pretty much. So it's not us that gets in the way. It's your energy driving the decision of where it needs to go the best. So it will show up, whether it's as I said, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual body. And then a whole fantastic, it's so intriguing. This work is really intriguing. Whatever shows up in whichever pathway is then corrected with a healing correction. So there are so many blessings, there are so many clearings, there are energetic work that can take place if that's required. Spiritual work is often the pathway that I'm witnessing at the moment with my clients that seems to be the most present. So I'm kind of intrigued about that too. It's like we keep going back down this spiritual pathway, which can take people back to, obviously, to past lives, but not getting caught up in the past life work, but it's about, have I made a vow somewhere
along the way
back then that is still impacting this life now,
and it's stopping you?
And that's right. There's loads of work that seems to be there are loads of women coming to undo, let go, release old cords and binds and vows and all of these things.
Well, and a perfect example would be the wedding vows.
Yes.
Sometimes we say to the eternity.
Absolutely. And
wow, you're going to be hooked in there.
I'm so aware of that. I'm a celebrant. I'm a marriage celebrant. So when I'm writing and creating ceremony, because I love ceremony and ritual, so it was an easy fit to become a celebrant. When I'm writing these ceremonies, I know energetically what this means. It's like, are you willing? And I kind of have, I can't bombard my clients with that, but I just sort of, the depth of the vow that you're making today. This is, binding.
Yes.
So it's really interesting, and this energy will stay with us for a long time. So, we correct, let go, release, and bring back the sovereignty to women. It's awesome. It's really fascinating work.
Did you work with men as well sometimes?
Yeah, I have great experiences with guys, and I love working with men because they're so different to us. We are so emotional and, speak a lot of words, and there's a lot that, we want to understand the ins and outs. Guys are task orientated. There's the problem, give me the solution, I'll go and do it. That's the way they roll. So it's kind of like, it's very interesting to, particularly if I'm doing a forensic healing with a guy and what is all this stuff, then they can't help but be, well, what is this stuff? What is this? How come you know that? How come, why is this showing up? Or, you know, it's very interesting. And guys are great at, I suppose like the way I work with men often is I have a big whiteboard and, you know, we do dynamics and things like this on the board often, and guys are just like, yes, I can get this, because it's task orientated. I can see how I can do this, this and this. Whereas women, they want to feel things. We want to connect. We speak a different language. Yeah, guys, I love working with men. I had to heal an awful lot of myself before I would invite men in. So for me, for years, the whole, you know, coming, like a brief history of mine was domestic violence, abuse, all that sort of stuff as a child. So men were the enemy. So it took me a long time to work through my stuff, to heal myself enough to invite men in. And it's been a really lovely transition. I think that it was almost like standing behind the door and they're going, okay, you can come in. All right. But it was really lovely, because for me that spoke volumes. Like, oh wow, I'm finally in this place where you're not the enemy. I'm totally fine around guys and all of that. And I seriously love working with men. I have some really awesome clients that just, I love listening to a man try and describe this work, because they're like, hey, take her card. I don't know what she does, but she does this stuff. It's really good. So it's just it's really fun and interesting, you know. And I love doing couples work, you know, I do a lot of conscious relationship type of work.
Wow.
Yeah, there's, you know, a lot of mindfulness, a lot of conscious awareness trainings.
It has been great to have you here, Alison. You have shared so much beautiful wisdom to empower all the women out there. And I invite you to visit Alison's webpage if you have any more questions, or if you want to attend to one of her Sacred Women Weekend retreats.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Mwah.
Thank you, gorgeous girl.
And I hope to see you here very soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you
Bye.
very soon.
Thank you.